Alrighty, guys, we're back for Azorius Rampage, and this is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. This is very much a Virtuoso build, so we got all four of them packed in. Illuminator Virtuoso is a 2-mana, 1/1, double strike. When it becomes the target of a spell you control, it connives. Beautiful card, man. One of my favorites from New Capenna, easily so explosive. We see this pop up every now and then in Boros builds, but I like to try it out in Azorius every now and then, so that's what we're doing here today. We got some other powerful creatures packed in, like a Duelist of the Mind. This is a 2-mana. Its power is equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn. Its toughness is 3. It does have flying and vigilance. That's good. Whenever you commit a crime, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, there's actually not too many ways to commit crimes in here, but we do have some interaction, like a couple Soul Partition, good tempo, and better tempo, all for Fading Hopes. Nice, good stuff, man. Other creatures packed in, we have Stormchaser Drake, 2-mana, 2/1 with flying. When it becomes the target of a spell you control, draw a card. So obviously that's going to pair beautifully with a Duelist of the Mind. Another one that's going to pair really nicely with Duelist of the Mind is actually this Zhalfirin Shapecraft. It's a 2-mana, instant speed. Target creature has base power, toughness, 4/3 until end of turn. And then you also get to draw a card off of this too. Honestly, man, if you're dropping this on a Duelist of the Mind, that's a pretty solid turn already. But there's other stuff that we could be doing on that same turn too, like maybe give that Duelist double strike with this Rustler Rampage. This is a 1 white mana instant speed, but it has an additional spree cost here. So for +1, you can untap all creatures target player controls. We're not going to be activating that one very often. This bottom one, though, for +1, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Beautiful stuff, man. So I do have all four of them because I think it's just going to be absolutely terrific to drop on the Duelist or drop on the Stormchaser Drake as well. We do have another creature packed in, though, all for Cheeky House Mouse. It's a 1-mana 2/1, and that'll come in handy. But what will really come in handy in here is the adventure side. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater this turn as well. Very neat stuff, man, because what ends up happening in decks like this is every now and then, since we don't have a lot of creatures, we get like an opening hand that just has no creatures. We just have a hand packed full of cards that say target creature gets blah blah blah, right? So what Cheeky House Mouse does is just let us play more creatures, but also be able to pop off with like Virtuoso and stuff still. Okay, we have, speaking of cards that say target creature gets blah blah blah, we have all four Homestead Courage. We do have some protection in here with a couple shore ups as well. We also have Water Wings, which is pretty much like the Shapecraft, but it doesn't replace itself, and it actually has some other additional abilities that'll come in handy. The target creature is base power toughness 4/4. It gains flying and hexproof. Nice. Now, like I said, we don't get the card draw, but all those abilities seem very, very solid, especially if you're giving flying to like the Virtuoso or something. One of the reasons people play Boros Virtuoso is because of like Monstrous Rage and stuff. Being able to give trample to this is huge, so being able to get it into the air should be equally as huge. You have a top end here, a couple Case of the Ransacked Labs. So it's a 3-mana enchantment case, instant and sorcery spells. You cast cost 1 less to cast. Beautiful. Now to solve this, you've cast 4 or more instant and sorcery spells this turn. I don't think it's going to be unheard of to solve this in here at all. I mean, there's a reason I'm playing with a couple of them, right? So when this is solved, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. Dude, that's disgusting. If you solve this, you're probably winning the game. Well, as long as you're able to like keep a creature around to cast your instants and sorceries onto, but yeah, you guys know what I mean. Okay, 20 total land in the mana base. Noteworthy things, of course, City of the Empire. We do have Soaring City and a single Restless Anchorage, opting for the fast land because this should be a fast deck. Over in the honorable mentions, I had this packed full with 15 cards. I dropped all of them because it's one of those decks that we could probably put together like 6 different ways. So I do have one lonely honorable mention, though. 3 steps ahead. Kind of feels like it should have made the cut at least as like a 2 of or something. Very powerful card. It has that middle ability where we can copy target artifact or creature, which would be really good in a deck like this. Has the bottom ability where you get to draw 2, then discard a card, which pairs well with Duelist. Yeah, honorable mention for a reason. Okay, guys, I do my dandiest to go ahead and save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. Let's go. What am I expecting from the list? I'm expecting a little bit. I'm trying to remember if I played any test games with this one. I don't remember right now, honestly, but I am expecting it to do a little bit. Opponent goes first. That should be concerning. I say we keep this. All right. Like, we have a couple creatures. The problem is, do we get to keep the creatures on the board on our turn 2, or do they get burnt away, right? Okay, we'll start with an island. Seeing the land there is not a bad thing at all, because we'll definitely want our third when it comes time. Codebreaker coming down as a 3/2. Swinging on in. Rustler Rampage. Okay, is it going to be Virtuoso? Or the Stormchaser Drake? Either way, we have to anticipate, like, play with fire. I think it's going to be Virtuoso, just in case, because if it doesn't get picked up by removal, then at least having Virtuoso on the board can pull us back into this. Nano. Might just be a Monstrous Rage, which would still be a very scary turn. It's going to be a shock, actually. There I am saying play with fire, but they must have like all 4 play with fires and maybe a shock or 2 as well. All right, we will get the island down. This is only our 3rd turn, guys. I will keep the island open, and this is a good example of why all 4 Fading Hopes are in here, right? Because if we had a Fading Hope in hand, we might have had a really good chance of surviving the turn by bouncing like a Codebreaker or something after a swing, of course. I don't think Stormchaser Drake survives. Codebreaker number 2 coming down as a 3/2. We're forced to block here, guys. That is 8 damage on the board. Commando flips next turn. Oh, it's too bad. It's too bad. We could have kept Soul Partition open. That's both of our creatures. So at this point, like, Case of the Ransacked Lab and then Soul Partition becomes 1 mana, since unfortunately we don't have anything else. And that is game. As Commando flips, we can Soul Partition the Codebreaker and 4 still gets through. GG Mono Red, man. Ah, jeez. This is like the 3rd video in 2 weeks where Mono Red took us out first match of the evening. Although, props to the opponent for playing a little bit of a different version of the Mono Red that we usually see. I don't believe we see Codebreaker too often anymore, so it's nice to see Codebreaker, as it's a very powerful card. I believe it deserves a slot in Mono Red. Oh, you know what that could have been? Oh, never mind, never mind. Commando was in there. Because the shock was in there and then I saw Codebreaker and whatnot, I was thinking maybe they have a rotation-proof Mono Red, but no, Commando was there. Yeah, Commando's going bye-bye. And even when it's gone, you guys think Mono Red will still be in a good spot? I think so. I definitely think so. I don't know what replaces it in the list, but... Opponent goes first. There's a Fading Hope. That would have really helped out to get us an extra turn. Maybe we wouldn't have had to block with the Stormchaser Drake. Same thing with the Shore Up too, man. Maybe we would have played things in a little bit of a different order to make sure the Virtuoso survived. Maybe Virtuoso would have been the turn 3 instead. Okay. Get the island down, keep the Fading Hope open. Okay, Case of the Stashed Skeleton. You know, we have been seeing a lot more skeletons recently, too. Also, just for good reason. It has a serious curve. If they go Swamp next turn into their thing that gives the Skelly Bellies a buff and haste, I'm not going to tempo the Tiny Bones. They're just going to go ahead and get that through. And keep the Fading Hope for something a little bit more important right now. Is it their end step? This says beginning of end step. So we could totally bounce this while we have the mana open though. And I think that's fine. Because we get the Scry too. And I'm going to actually send the Restless Anchorage to the bottom. I don't think we need more mana right now. Oh, well, we found more mana anyways. Good thing we sent that. Virtuoso. Do you survive, or are you the turn 3 instead? Okay. Virtuoso is the turn 3 since we have the mana in hand with the protection in hand as well. Up against Skelly Bellies probably means they do have a good chunk of spot removal overall. Now they do get to solve this at the end of this turn, but they won't get to use it until next turn, so. As far as using this... Ooh, Gix comes down. Oh my. So that's the Soul Partition, right? That's some good tempo. We'll let the one go through. And Soul Partition before they get the draw on the Gix. Yeah, they do solve the case. And maybe that Fading Hope, you know, because next turn they can activate that. Well, then the turn after... Because usually what they end up grabbing is the card that gives their Skelly Bellies haste. Okay, stay on task here. Get the Virtuoso down and have the Shore Up available to protect it. Yeah, the big thing with these Virtuoso builds, they're very combo heavy, but usually we can pull off some really explosive stuff with it, so that's the goal here today. Yeah, Rustler Rampage not pairing too well with the Virtuoso, but it can still get the Connive off if we need it. They do find a Corpses of the Lost. Okay. So, with the Fool... Oh, they're not swinging with the Tiny Bones because we do have that double strike block into it. I say we block and shore up, huh? How do you guys feel about that? Get the Connive Ball rolling here. Ooh, Fading Hope. I wouldn't mind getting the case down. Yeah, the Rustler Rampage, I suppose. Although we do have, like, the untap ability if we needed it, but nah, that's okay. Okay, we get to keep Soaring City as utility. This is definitely too much mana right now, but I guess we don't really mind seeing it a whole lot. Okay, Fading Hope available, and we will go for that swing. Hopefully we see some more things that target this Virtuoso. Okay. Passes back to the opponent. They do have this case if they want to try to find something. Honestly, they could try to use the case, find a cut down, try to use the cut down on the Virtuoso, but we do have this one open and they don't know what's in hand right now. If they do try to take out the Virtuoso, I think it might be worthwhile saving with our own Fading Hope, but it really depends. Fourth mana comes down for the opponent. Sheoldred. All right, well, probably going to be a tempo play. Just bounce the Sheoldred back to hand and make them pay 4 for it again next turn. We won't get the Scry, and the Scry could really come in handy. But that's probably still pretty good tempo, I would say. Come on, something big. No mana. Ah, jeez. All right, let's get the wastes down. You still get a good double strike swing here, which I'll do. And Soaring City, at the very least, can just act as more tempo for the Shieldred next turn. We definitely don't need any more mana, guys. We only got 20 in here, and at this point, I might want to talk about 19. But probably not. Yeah, because we scryed the Restless. That's 6, 7, in the top 47. Oh, in the top 13, I mean. Are they going to go for the swing with the Tiny Bones? At any point, we could get that last 12 through. There's a lot of stuff in here that we could draw. All right, let's bounce that Shielder. Wait, I'll wait till the end of their turn. Just in case they play a Swamp or something. Okay. Well, the tempo's been great. No mana. Ah. All right, well, I'm just going to keep that in hand and maybe trick the opponent for a turn. I don't know what that would trick them into doing, but... All right. That's not great, not great. If we end up flooding out in like a couple more matches today, then I'll consider the 19, because there's still going to be a lot of moments where we want our third mana on turn 3 regardless. If you go down to 19, you're kind of agreeing that the deck can run on 2 mana for a good chunk of the game, which I don't believe that this deck could do. Like, I'm pretty sure we want to see 3 as soon as possible. Don't get me wrong, it could definitely run on 2. Water Wings, dude. There we go. We get the Virtuoso into the air. It's like I said, there's a lot in here that we could see to end this game. There we go. 10 damage in the air. All right, taking out Skelly Bellies. A lot of tempo plays in that one. Virtuoso really proving itself nicely. The protection proving itself. The case didn't do too much there. Oh, man. That was good. That was good, man. Like, I was complaining that we were flooding, but then we found it. I mean, there was a lot of stuff packed in, though, that could get us there. But now that they had the Shieldred on the ground, though, too, it very specifically had to be something that could actually get the Virtuoso around the Shieldred block. So that was perfect. All right. We go first this time. I can't complain about this hand. We keep this. All right. Restless Anchorage. Okay. Thank goodness we went first here, guys. So, Duelist of the Mind, because it can't get hit by Play with Fire. Or Shock, right? Apparently some mono red still rocking that Shock. Which I can definitely see why. Alright, I was just thinking for a second there, like if we actually did drop Virtuoso and for some reason it survived, then we'd have a really, really good turn 3 with this Shapecraft. But it's fine. Totally fine. Ancestral Anger onto the Swift Spear. I will take that 4 gladly. Seachrome Coast. Probably going to end up keeping Fading Hope open as tempo. Shapecraft buffs the Duelist really nicely. We do get a good swing with it. But I think we're just going to get the second Duelist down and keep the Fading Hope open. How do we feel about that? Or now we could do the Virtuoso, get some extra card draw on the Connive when it comes time. Okay. I'll get the Virtuoso down. Oh, and I guess good practice to swing first, but the opponent's tapped out anyways. Fading Hope available. Let's see what happens to our creatures this turn. Because there's no protection open for Virtuoso. Third mana comes down. Come on, opponent. Tap out with a creature. Maybe a Godric. Yeah, just drop a Godric on the board. It's a slick shot show off. My goodness. And now we just gotta hope it's not a play with fire for our Virtuoso. Okay, they're actually gonna get the Demonic Ruckus ready. We block in the air well enough. We could what do we want to tempo here? Well, I suppose actually since they're tapped out, we can block here, take a little less. We definitely do not want to trade with the Virtuoso, and we'll bounce the Slick Shot Show Off back to hand since it's a little bit more expensive than the Swift Spear, right? And then just take the 2. Oh, we commit a crime as well. I mean, I'll take that action. It's a land. Do we want that? No, we don't. We don't want that because we'll have the Soaring City. Water Wings. Yeah, dude, I'll keep that on top. Okay. Okay, how do we want to do this? I guess we start with Shapecraft on the Virtuoso. Because we could very well die next turn. Oh, another Shapecraft. So Duelist, right? Get the extra counter. Alright, that's 13 damage on the board. Homestead Courage. Homestead Courage, guys. 1, 2. Wait. Wait, we already have 13 on the board. Crap, if I would have kept that Plains, Homestead Courage would have gotten us there, right? I think so. Can we still get there? So the base power of the Virtuoso has already been increased. So we can't just go like more base power. That's not how that works. So if we go base power onto the Duelist and draw a card on the Shapecraft as well. So the base power is increased, but it didn't actually change much? Wait, how does that work, guys? How does that work? So, because its power is equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn, the base power isn't 0, so you're not increasing the base power? Oh. Wait, is that how that works? I'm a little bit confused on how that works. Well, we survived the turn, it looks like. They burnt away our Duelist. Oh. 12 damage on the board. They keep a blocker back. Water Wings is actually going to wrap this up. I'm not going to get punished for not knowing how to play Magic? Really? Gosh golly gee. Water Wings coming into play again. We'll get rid of the second Virtuoso. Totally fine. Swing in the air. Oh my goodness, dude. Okay. Somebody in the comments let me know, because I definitely thought... Hold up. This is like the second video in a row where I did this with my deck building too. Oh no, I clicked through it. Hold on, guys. We're gonna go... I gotta go talk about this real quick. Rustler Rampage. Okay. Duelist of the Mind reads, power is equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn. These guys read, target creature has base power and toughness, 4/3 until end of turn. I guess it's one of those things. Right? It just became a 4/3. Yeah, since it doesn't read like its power gets +1 or something like that, I suppose how it would be. That's how I was thinking it was going to... I thought like the two were going to stack on top of each other. Well, either way, I mean, the deck's still kind of sort of doing the thing, so I'm going to continue. Just keep an eye out on like little nuances like that. Not half bad, though, I would say. We might want to talk about more Water Wings, honestly. And as far as like dropping Duelist of the Mind for a different creature, I don't think that would be worth it, because we're still dropping those base power effects like the Water Wings and stuff on our other creatures. and still getting like the Connive, and the Drake also gets us extra draws too. So all of that is actually buffing the Duelist of the Mind anyways. And then while you're still buffing the Duelist of the Mind, we still have that Rampage in here too to give like double strike to these important flyers. So the deck still works. I just thought it was going to be much more explosive with the Duelist. All right. Anyways, sorry opponent. I will keep this hand gladly. Yeah, so no matter how much we buff the Duelist's power, when we drop like a Water Wings on it, it'll still just have the base power 4/4. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, at this point, you'd think I would have known that. So I feel like at some point we've maybe done that in the past too. Fading Hope is not the greatest on the Inspector, so I'm just going to keep it for something a little better here. I will gladly get Duelist of the Mind down because it is very unlikely, if this is Boros, that they'll have removal this early for the Duelist of the Mind. So we'll be able to keep protection open with Water Wings if that's what we want. Cards like Homestead Courage and stuff really work well with Duelist too, because the extra +1 counters really go the extra mile. Establishing Virtuoso could be interesting. I'm going to get the Seat down as a land. Oh yeah, we should definitely establish this Virtuoso. Do I want to activate? No. I'll keep the Fading Hope open. Yeah, we'll save the Homestead Courage all for one turn. For next turn. Could also see... We see like untapped mana off the top. We could have double Homestead Courage with the Water Wings as well. Which could be an insane amount of damage to the opponent's face. Lethal Demolition. They still got 2 open. Hopefully they don't drop a case, because that would be 5 damage at wherever they choose. And they still got, yeah, they still got the 2 open. Oh, Convoke. Knight Errant of Eos. I'll tell you what, guys. I'll tell you what. Let's. They're gonna restock their hand. See what they grab. They grab an Imodane's Recruiter. Very nice. So we don't have a guarantee. Well, if we Fading Hope something small, get the Virtuoso into the air with the Water Wings, and like find a land on top off the scry, that could be cool. If we don't win this turn, then we might lose next turn because the Imodane's Recruiter is coming down. So bouncing the Knight Errant would have been pretty good too, I suppose. Oh, Homestead Courage. Okay, that's a good one to discard. Oh, Shapecraft. But if we miss that land, then that's that. Like if we go Shapecraft first, they block with the not Imodane, Knight Errant of Eos, but we get a card draw. No guarantee of seeing the 4th. No, Water Wings is much better in this scenario, and we're just going to stay on task and look for that 4th mana. Oh, it's going to be another Shapecraft off the top. Well, number 1, Water Wings gets the Virtuoso into the air. We'll get to Connive. And we'll still have the Homestead Courage open. So let's start there. Oh, I hope they don't have like spot removal. Okay, land, but it is unfortunately... Okay, hold on. That'll let us keep the Fading Hope open still. That's fine. We'll get rid of the Shapecraft. That's totally fine. I was going to say, it's Not a white source, so we still can't double down on the Homestead Courage, but it's fine. Probably go for Homestead Courage in the grave while we have it. Connive. Okay. Continue to buff the Virtuoso, totally fine here. Ditch the other Homestead Courage. And then have the Fading Hope available. That is a lot of damage, dude. Actually, if we go Fading Hope, we commit a crime for the turn, too. So it's 14. Let's commit that crime. This is crazy, dude. This is 18 damage. Take action. Discard the island. Stormchaser Drake. Pretty good. Incredible tempo plays. They go for the draw on the clue. Okay. Down to 1. They got Emodane's Recruiter in hand. Knight Errant Evios was bounced back. 4th mana comes down. They could drop 1-drop Emodane's Recruiter. We still got 2 blockers because of all the vigilance. They dropped the GGs. Good game, opponent. Let's go, guys. Holy cow. Oh, heck yeah, I had fun there. Getting them down to 1 makes me wonder if I could have played it in a little bit of a different order to actually have won that turn. I don't know about that. You guys let me know in the comments. Either way, we got there, which is awesome. Duelist of the Mind actually showing off again that game, which is a good thing because I got a little worried after seeing that like the increasing the base power and stuff didn't work. You know, obviously I got a little worried that that defeats the purpose of having Duelist, but no, Duelist totally working out really nicely, and the way it works with like the Connive on the Virtuoso too. Yeah, that's sick stuff, man. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. And yeah, obviously just having one of like the little combos in the list actually not working doesn't mean all the other combos all of a sudden just fall apart too, so. Yeah, we're about 32 minutes in. We already got a good chunk of games in. This could very well be the last game, but if it's a fast one, then we'll definitely squeeze a 6th match in. We go first. I mean, we obviously didn't see Rustler Rampage do a thing today either, so we want to see that. And paired with like Stormchaser Drake, yeah. Oh, we keep this. I like it. It's great to see that we're going first. Well, very great to see. We're up against like 5-color control or something. So Virtuoso or Stormchaser Drake? I'm going to go for the Drake for extra card draw. Maybe get some extra lands in hand. And you guys can see why I opted for the 20 instead of the 19. That one game where we saw too many, it's definitely a flood at that point. Up the beanstalk. All right. We got to go fast, huh? They are very efficient at controlling. All right. Shapecraft. Draw 2. See if we can find some mana here. We do not find some mana. Uh-oh. Swing with the 4-3. See what the opponent does. The draw 2 is really good, though. This has got to be removal, right? I can only imagine. Starting out with the Homestead Courage. Or anything else cheap here. It's probably for the best. Get that card draw. See, if they fizzle out the Homestead Courage, at least it has the flashback. Oh, we get the draw. We get the land. That's huge for us. Get that down. We're going to need it. Are only on their 3rd. I think we go for the swing and play the Virtuoso for some setup. How do you guys feel about that? They could have to populate in the build. They could. But it's more likely to be Sunfall. I don't think the 5-color decks often run. Oh, a herd migration. Okay. I don't think the 5-color decks often run 4 mana board wipes, but they very well could. Ill-timed explosion. No, my creatures. Oh no. Yeah, ill-timed explosion. Maybe a one of, maybe a lot more. Not 100% certain. When we do see these 5-color builds, like there is a decent amount of variety. Let's take a look at the opponent's grave to kind of gauge what's going on here. They got the Invasion of Arcavios in here, guys. Very nice. Potentially 5-color like utility, which would be pretty sick. All right, Stormchaser Drake. Gonna go for the restock. Unfortunately, they're gonna be at like their 5th mana next turn, very likely. Leads us into Sunfall territory. Let's get that card draw, though. Of course, we really want to see this Rustler's Rampage do a thing. While we have the open mana, should I buff Stormchaser Drake for the sake of the draw? I think so, especially since it's Homestead Courage, because the flashback is so good, right? It's just like additional cards at that point. 5th mana comes down. Cornucopia, 2 mana available still. Lightning Helix. Oh no. I got pretty excited for a second that we were going to be able to use that Rustler Rampage. We stock up a couple creatures on the board. Duelist of the Mind. That's good for the Rampage. Duelist of the Mind, Virtuoso. We could be running right into a Sunfall. But if we go Duelist of the Mind, well, yeah, like Cheeky House Mouse. And then keep the Fading Hope open. If they drop Sunfall, we can bounce Duelist at least. And if they don't drop Sunfall, then we just have 2 creatures on the board. And that's probably okay. Honestly, maybe it should have just been Virtuoso Cheeky House Mouse. But darn it, guys, we're going to use this Rampage one way or the other. Sunfall. Opponent. Who'd have thought? Yeah, we'll bounce the Duelist. Taking another one down to 16. Island on the top. Why does my gut feeling say keep this island? I don't know, but I'm gonna keep it. I don't know why we need a 5th right now, but just like something's telling me to keep this island. Okay, they still have 2 mana available. Okay. Right. The ill-timed explosion makes a lot of sense with this Cornucopia. 1 or more colors, you gain 1 life for each of that spell's colors. Cool. That's actually really neat. With no additional protection, it feels super sketchy to just drop the creatures. Maybe we should just drop Duelist and continuously play around additional board wipes. These types of decks could easily... I mean, they dropped 2 of them already. Just running right into the next one doesn't seem great. But if we don't start doing more... yeah. Yeah, we're just going to play stuff while we can. I think this is heavily leaning towards the opponent. So now, at this point in the game, we just have to risk these insane plays. I will get rid of 1 Rustler Rampage. Wait. I guess the island is something that we don't need right now. Although the additional counter on the Virtuoso could have been cool, it's still probably unlikely that these creatures survive until our turn. So the additional counter over just keeping more cards in hand. Sunfall number 2. Well, we we can't pretend that we're that surprised, I suppose. That's brutal, brutal stuff. Calls Angel on the Cavern of Souls, getting ready for their Atraxa. And now we wait. Oh man, this Rustler Rampage would have been so cool. Wait. We can give their creature double strike, huh? That could be fun. We could actually draw on the Shapecraft too, if we wanted to. Well, there's Atraxa. I mean, at the very least, giving the Atraxa double strike could be pretty cool, right? Go ahead and restock their hand. Ooh, Archangel of Wrath. Yep. Cornucopia looks like just an excellent addition to this style of deck, doesn't it? Really nice addition, opponent. We've seen the Cornucopia pop up in a few other places as well. Let's see what we see on the top. It's going to be a Homestead Courage. Let's at the very least give that Atraxa double strike. And untap their creatures too, because why not? Except Atraxa has Vigilance already. Alright, check this out, opponent. Untap all creatures target player controls. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Target player, yes. Target creature, yes. Hey, there you go. Oh man, a double strike Atraxa is terrifying. Also, while we're at it, there you go, buddy. Buff those creatures on up. Another Virtuoso. Probably, after their Atraxa came down, I don't think this Virtuoso would have been able to do anything anyways. Brings the deck win rate down to 60%. That's about right. It's actually probably going to go lower than 60%, of course, too, but the more you play with it, of course. Actually, you know what? I did have fun. They always provide like this intricate puzzle to try to play around, and that time the puzzle pieces lined up pretty well for them. We're about 42 minutes in, guys. I'm feeling it. I think we can end on a high note. Getting 6 games in today was easy peasy. The games are pretty fast with this deck. And you guys can really see just how much explosive power is actually packed in, which is nice. Of course, anytime you're playing with Virtuoso, that's how it is. All right, I'll keep this. Cheeky House Mouse, I'm going to keep you as an adventure for the Stormchaser Drake. And the Stormchaser Drake's going to happen next turn. Or Stormchaser Drake number 1, and then hopefully it doesn't get picked up by spot removal. Deep Cavern Bat. Duelist? Maybe Duelist. They take one of the Drakes, it's just like, this doesn't do much for them. They don't know what our turn 2 choice is yet. I can see the case. I would be surprised if it's the cheeky House Mouse, but we'll see. I guess they could anticipate like Drake coming down and then the additional draw. They do take the cheeky House Mouse, actually. Well, Seachrome Coast. Get that down in case we see another one off the top. That way we don't get punished by the other one tapping. Stormchaser Drake comes down. Yeah, I guess they anticipated our turn 2 and grabbed the cheeky House Mouse so we didn't get a draw on it. Guess it makes sense to me. They do know everything in our hand right now because we chose to play the coast. Is the third mana drops. Is it going to be Gix? Spot removal. Number 1 for the Drake. Wonder if we take the turn to get the case down. That way that the rest of the game, all of our 2 mana instants and sorceries are 1 mana. We could. Fading Hope's not bad. Could get Drake down, have the Fading Hope as protection for it. We just like set up for the turn. We're not in immediate danger. Okay. Because next turn too, we'll be able to double down on creatures. Maybe one of them actually survives too. I'm thinking we might want to drop a Fading Hope and go up another Shore Up. Just more protection. Kind of feels like it would have been really good today. We might change up this deck a little bit here at the end. Sheoldred, what are you doing here? It's way too early for you, Sheoldred. It's only turn 2. That's what it feels like. Every time Sheoldred comes down, it's just like, we just started. So we'll keep the Sheoldred for now because I want to see what's on top. Hey, shore up. Nice. Right. So, Drake. Fading Hope the Bat doesn't seem great. Stay on task. Double down on creatures. Hope that Sheoldred doesn't run away with the game in a couple turns. I don't know. We had some options there for sure. No, Deep Cavern Bat's gonna take the Fading Hope. Oh, that's really bad for us. We definitely needed that Fading Hope. Oh no. Oh no. At least the shore up can hit the Drake and we can draw and we might find some more tempo. They go for the swing, we're gonna take it easily. They do swing with the Deep Cavern Bat as they decide that the trade into the Drake is worthwhile now. And I agree with them, that is worthwhile for them. So we're not gonna do it. Oh dude, okay. Some mono black mid-range to wrap up the evening. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat number 3, dude. We gotta see some serious business here. Oh, Homestead Courage, that is serious business. Oh, land. That is not serious business. We really needed that Fading Hope, guys, because Sheoldred's a pain in the butt, dude. All right, let's let's do this. My face, my beautiful face. Oh no, more land, guys. Well, it is what it is, huh? We'll get that swing. They both have Vigilance thanks to the Homestead Courage. And we took 4 extra from the Sheoldred. I most likely should have tempoed with the Fading Hope as soon as I had it. Right? I think that's totally my fault. Now, they don't know what's in hand here, but I'm almost certain that this is a full swing. We don't even have a trade into the Sheoldred. Well, I guess they don't know that, but... Oh, Sheoldred's Edict. I guess it would be Duelist of the Mind, and they can power up the Mishra's Foundry. Dude, the triple bats. Now, that's something else, huh? So no matter what, they have lethal damage here when they pass it back. However, that was pretty risky of the opponent not powering up the Foundry there. So we're forced to block the Sheoldred. But yeah, if we had a tempo play for the turn, instead of just seeing excess land, well, after that game, we're going to have to talk about... Aha, I power up my Restless Anchorage. My savior. Shore up. I'll activate it. Let's do it. Play cards for the sake of playing cards. GG opponent. Got that win rate down to 50% now. I gotta be real with you though. That one kind of felt unlucky, didn't it? I think so. I think a little unlucky. But some of those victories felt pretty lucky too, so... I got a lot to say about this build, and there's a lot that I actually want to change around too. Guys, let me know in the comments for sure what you thought of this deck. Every time I visit a Virtuoso style build, it's always so much fun to play. While you're down there in the comments too, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. That Patreon really does go the extra mile. And then also one of the main benefits for you guys to join up, of course, is patron suggestions, pretty much guaranteeing that your suggestion gets played on the channel. All right, dude. Freaking Waterwing. What a card, man. When you pair that with that Virtuoso, that's good stuff. I like it. But it doesn't have the draw like the Shapecraft. I don't care. 3 and 3? What do you think? I like that. I like that. What about the Fading Hope? 3 and 3? Extra protection with the shore up. The shore up targeting our creatures better than Fading Hope does, right? Fading Hope being tempo is going to still be very important. As far as the case of the Ransacked Lab, Might have been a forced pick, honestly. Here's what it affects. Soul Partition, Shapecraft, Water Wings. That's it for the top ability. It's obviously in here too to become solved. Did we have any? Oh, Rustler Rampage, the additional spree cost. I mean, after the Duelist, now I'm concerned. The spree cost does get lowered, right? Sometimes it's just like these little nuances. For some reason, it's either I knew them in the past and I forgot, or I never knew them to begin with, right? Because in the middle of this video, I learned how to play Magic with Duelist of the Mind. You know, it didn't actually get the base power buff off of the Water Wings or the Shapecraft when I thought it was going to get the base power buff plus the additional draws as well. Of course, it did not. So after finding that out, now I'm second guessing if the Rampage spree cost actually gets cheaper with the case of the Ransacked Lab. Either way, we only got 2 of these on the top end. I still believe it would be relatively easy to actually solve this. Then you have to wait an entire turn, though. Gotta wait an entire turn to actually utilize that ability, but once it is solved, you're probably just winning, you know? I don't know. I really like the Soul Partition, too. I always believe that Soul Partition is just incredible tempo. For a deck like this that goes really, really fast and doesn't really care if your opponent eventually gets 5 or 6 mana to recast the thing, we're trying to win before that. That still makes sense to me. Guys, I still want to do some rearranging. I like the 3-3-3-3 because we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Apparently. But kind of thinking like 3 Rustler Rampage too. Darn, I would have loved to see the Rampage do a thing today, especially since I named the deck after it. We really struggled against that 5-color control. And with 20 land, like going down to 19, like it felt a little floody. But at the same time, it didn't. I don't know. What could have been really good in those losses? What could have been really, like, seeing things in a better order, right? Maybe just like more generic card draw. We drop a Rustler Rampage, and we drop a mana. Hold up. Hold up. No. No, I don't want to drop that mana. Instead, we'll go up another 3-drop. We'll keep the 20, and we'll give ourselves another way to have something else in here that makes itself cheaper off the case. We're leaning blue. The mana base is leaning blue. Yeah, I'm going to keep the 20, guys. I do feel like we got a little unlucky seeing like 7 and 8 mana in some of those. I think that's a little bit silly overall. But I do want to drop that Rustler's Rampage and then just go up something else that restocks the hand. And you know what it could be? It doesn't necessarily like completely restock, but it does play, like it was the one honorable mention. So not only does it act as a 3-mana counterspell, but also 3 mana, draw 2, then discard a card. So if we go up like a couple of those, put that there, right? And now when we do end up flooding out 2, then maybe we can activate this on 4 mana, copy one of our creatures, right? That makes sense. And then what do we drop? A case of the Ransacked Lab. So there we go. 60 cards, leaning blue. Mana base was already leaning blue anyways, totally fine. I think overall this is good because you don't want to lean even heavier blue, because what ends up happening then, like you saw in those games actually, you can't double down on Homestead Courage every now and then, and you really, really want to have a double turn with Homestead, or a double play with Homestead Courage on some of your turns. So, right, we rearranged some of the numbers a little bit, but we kept a lot of it true. And I think the 3 steps ahead is actually going to be a really great addition. It's a really powerful card in general, having all those options. You guys know I love cards that give us a bunch of options, a bunch of utility packed in. Yeah. Today was just a big old learning experience for me, huh? And then hopefully the case of the Ransacked Lab does actually reduce the cost of spree. Now, it doesn't reduce the cost of every spree, just like one in general. So if you activate like multiple spree abilities, then it would only reduce it by one anyways, not for each ability. If that wasn't already obvious, I don't know why I decided to point that out, but yeah, it should still reduce it, I hope. Let me know in the comments for sure. Actually, I actually really like how the deck looks now. Just like there's something pleasing about how it's organized right here, right? It just kind of looks clean, even though it would look a lot cleaner if we had more 4-ofs and stuff. Really love the Water Wings and the Shapecraft. Yeah, these cards are sick. It's too bad it doesn't work with Duelist, but Duelist in general was just a really good creature in here anyways, which I'm actually really happy about. All right, guys. Hey, enough rambling. If you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions, and I will see you in the next video.